This is not just another routine forecast. This is a developing multi-day severe weather situation that could impact more than 100 million people across the United States, and it begins right now. From today through the weekend, a powerful and unstable pattern is setting the stage for repeated rounds of dangerous storms stretching from the Central Plains all the way to the East Coast. We are talking about damaging winds, very large hail, and the growing potential for tornadoes, some of which could become strong under the right conditions. And as if that wasn't enough, on the colder side of this system, parts of the Midwest and Great Lakes could be dealing with heavy snow and even ice, creating a rare and chaotic clash of seasons over the next several days. Let's begin with what's happening today because the atmosphere is already becoming active. A corridor of instability is building across portions of the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, and into parts of the Northeast. Thunderstorms are expected to develop and intensify throughout the day, and while many of these storms will produce heavy rain and lightning, the primary concern will be damaging winds. Gusts strong enough to bring down trees and power lines are possible, especially across areas like southern Michigan, northern Indiana, and northwestern Ohio. Alongside the wind threat, large hail is also a concern. Some of these storms could produce hailstones reaching the size of golf balls, posing a risk to vehicles, roofs, and outdoor property. There is also a conditional tornado threat in place today. That means the ingredients for tornadoes are present: strong wind shear and instability, but whether tornadoes actually develop will depend heavily on how storms evolve. If the atmosphere remains less cluttered and allows individual storms to form, there is a chance that isolated supercells could develop this afternoon, and those could produce a brief but potentially strong tornado. However, if storms become widespread early in the day, they may limit that tornado potential. As we move into the late afternoon and early evening hours, storms will likely organize into clusters and lines, pushing eastward into cities like Cleveland, Columbus, and Indianapolis. By nighttime, the severe threat should begin to diminish, transitioning into periods of steady rain with only isolated thunderstorm activity remaining. The tornado risk will drop significantly after sunset, but the bigger story begins tomorrow, because this is when the pattern truly intensifies. A new and more powerful wave of energy will emerge across the plains, igniting another round of severe weather, this time with a broader and more organized threat. Cities including Kansas City, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and areas stretching into North Texas will be under the gun for severe storms. The primary threat tomorrow will once again be damaging winds, and some of these could exceed 75 miles per hour. Winds of that magnitude can cause structural damage, flip vehicles, and create widespread power outages. In addition, the hail threat will become even more significant. Some storms could produce hail larger than 2 inches in diameter, with isolated storms capable of generating hailstones the size of baseballs. This is particularly dangerous for anyone caught outdoors or without proper shelter. The tornado risk will also increase. While it may not be a widespread outbreak, the environment will support the development of several quick-hitting tornadoes, especially during the evening and nighttime hours. And that timing is critical. Storms developing after dark are inherently more dangerous because they are harder to see and catch many people off guard. Areas across central Oklahoma, southern Kansas, and North Texas will need to remain especially alert. As we move into Thursday, the system will shift northeast, bringing the severe weather threat into parts of the Midwest. While some areas may primarily deal with strong winds and heavy rain, there is growing concern that portions of Iowa, Missouri, and Illinois could see conditions favorable for additional tornado development. If the atmosphere becomes unstable enough during the afternoon, a few discrete storms could form, and those would have the potential to produce tornadoes, possibly even a strong one. Further east, including cities like Chicago, Detroit, and parts of Ohio, storms will likely be more linear in nature, meaning damaging winds will be the dominant threat. However, even within these lines, isolated tornadoes cannot be ruled out. By Friday, this entire pattern could reach its peak. Forecast models are indicating that the storm system will be in a much more favorable position to produce widespread severe weather. A large portion of the central United States, from Iowa and Minnesota down through Oklahoma and Texas, could be at risk. The exact details are still evolving, but the ingredients are coming together for a potentially significant day. If storms are able to develop as discrete supercells early on, we could see multiple tornadoes, large hail, and intense wind damage. Later in the day, those storms may merge into powerful lines, increasing the risk of widespread damaging winds across a large region. This is a day that will need to be monitored very closely, as even small changes in the setup could have major impacts on the severity of the outbreak. As we head into Saturday, the threat does not disappear. Another round of storms is expected to develop, stretching from the Midwest down into parts of the South. While the overall intensity may decrease slightly, there is still a risk of damaging winds and a few embedded tornadoes within lines of storms. By Sunday, the system will finally begin to shift toward the East Coast. Areas along the mid-Atlantic and into the Northeast, including states like Virginia, Maryland, and possibly even parts of New England, could see scattered severe storms. While this phase may be less intense than what we see earlier in the week, it will still carry the risk of damaging winds and isolated severe weather. At the same time, we cannot forget about the colder side of this system. As warm, unstable air fuels severe storms to the south, colder air wrapping around the system will bring heavy snow and ice to parts of the northern plains, upper Midwest, and Great Lakes. Travel could become dangerous in these areas, with reduced visibility, slick roads, and potential power outages from ice accumulation. This is a complex and high-impact weather pattern, and it will be evolving rapidly over the coming days. The key takeaway is that this is not a one-day event. It is a prolonged period of active and potentially dangerous weather affecting a massive portion of the country. Now is the time to prepare. Make sure you have multiple ways to receive weather alerts, especially as we head into the overnight hours when storms are more dangerous. Review your severe weather safety plans, know where to go in case of a tornado warning, and stay informed as updates continue to come in. We will be tracking the situation around the clock, bringing you the latest information as it becomes available. Make sure you stay connected, stay alert, and stay safe. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any critical updates as this dangerous weather pattern unfolds.